I encourage anybody to not be embarrassed, by the way you look or by the way you sound. That's you. People will like you for who you are. It's okay, and put it out there and just keep going. Don't worry about the little things.
Hello, welcome back to the Clout Podcast. This is your go-to space for actionable tips and strategies to grow your personal brand and marketing game. I am one of your hosts. I'm Montana Duran.
My name's Logan Martinez.
And I'm Nate Straubinger.
How are we doing today? I feel like today, guys, we were practicing what we preach. Yeah?
Definitely. This is our third podcast, right?
I think this might be the fourth.
Yeah. The fourth. Regardless to say, this is becoming one of my favorite things to do of the week. I think it's always exciting to join you guys and collaborate and just kind of talk about all these things. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it was something when Blake had mentioned that he couldn't make it. I was like, I think we got to push through, but we're terribly sorry to not have you on here today, Blake, but you'll be on the next one. But yeah, today was a little difficult getting everything set up. Like you said, we're practicing what we preach. I was having some microphone issues, just the volume and the quality just wasn't there. So I'm going to have to go get something new, but for the time being, it's not going to hold us up. So I think that's important that we just push through and get some of the content that we're looking for, because, we're not going to skip it just because of something like this.
Yeah. I think for me, if you look at the past few episodes, my backdrop has changed a lot. And I think like just kind of finding the right place to film the podcast has not been a struggle, but, a process. And especially, filming from home, not having our own like studio or office, you kind of have to work with what you got. But, I think over time, those things come together and you can't. The quote of the day, right? Nate taught me this. You cannot sacrifice good in the pursuit of perfection.
Yeah, that was taught to me by my friend Gary. But imagine if we were still living together and we just had like an extra room that we dedicated to like the podcast or a studio or whatever it may be. I think that'd be pretty funny.
That'd be
just
sick.
Walk in, sit down. I think that's probably one of the main things that would help people streamline their process is having their go-to space to record things, or just having their go-to process to make everything just really fluid, so that they could go in and they already know what type of ideas that they're going to be filming, aka having somebody like Montana come in, script out, the overviews of what these videos are going to be like. So you don't really have to go into just filming like, oh man, what do I got to post today? It's more so just laid out for you. And I feel like it's kind of the same with this podcast stuff. It's something now that I'm kind of getting, like the first, like you mentioned, Logan, was my backdrop changed a couple times. And I kind of think I found a little bit more of a spot here, just because I can pop open some lights back there and then I can have another light right here. But it just makes it a lot easier. I can't have this going all day, but if I did, I'd probably be recording videos all day, every day. So it makes a difference.
Definitely the art behind you and like the little light, I think it adds to kind of like a little studio vibe. So I think it looks great, dude.
We were all in the chat last week, like Nate is making us want to step our game up, like making us all look bad.
It's funny because like if you look, we got a couple of album covers here, and then I have this workspace over here that I use it, but it's funny because like going into this whole podcast, I was looking at the whole background over there, and I just wasn't really loving it. And I challenged myself to really use my resources here. And just by trying to challenge myself and use what I got, maybe it's using these headphones or this other mic that just isn't the best quality, but challenging myself just to do it. And, you can really make something just by giving it a shot. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to get better over time. And, who knows? We have a Clout podcast studio one day and that's where things are going down. But for now, it's you got to use what you got, and if you're gonna
Yeah.
let that stop you, it's even today, it's like I want like a vloggy camera or something more compact. Like I don't want to take out my phone all the time to record. I'm like, this phone is connected to the internet. Like I can take photos and do everything right here and shoot it right over to social media and get exposure. And it's you got to use what you got sometimes.
Yeah. Last week after the episode, Montana, I was talking to Nate. Well, actually, this was probably one of our first episodes we recorded, and it went live on YouTube. And I called Nate, just like thrilled with excitement, just like, "Hey, dude, we actually did it. Our podcast episode is out." And I'm looking back, and I'm, being my own worst critic, saying, "Dude, I don't like the way my eyes are looking around while I'm thinking, and I don't like the way this and that." But I looked past all of that and was just excited that we actually did it, and knowing that our first episode's not going to be the biggest hit, right? And I mean, it's unrealistic to have those expectations. So I think it's really important just to get started, because I guarantee you guys by the 100th episode, our backdrops will change, our conversations will change, our layouts will change, and it's understanding what works and stuff. And I think that a lot of people see these finely tuned podcasts or content and they're like, "Oh my God, it's got to look like that," right? But they don't see like that whole journey it took to get there, you know?
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
that. And this is all kind of like aligned of what we're talking about, like ending 2024 and then starting 2025, which 2025 sounds like a fake year. Like, how are we in this
It
year
does.
already? But because most podcasts don't make it past 16 episodes because you get caught in that like
Hmm.
overthinking. So as long as we're already a quarter of a way there on our fourth one, so we only have a bit more to go to beat like other podcasts.
Oh,
So
that's
I think
easy.
it's it's getting started where you are with what you have, and I think that's why I think I love that we're doing this, because we're trying to encourage all the people that we're working with to do it. And
Mhm.
who are we to say do this, do this, do this, and then we're not doing it too?
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's very easy to like come in very polished to something like this. You've been doing it for a long time, or like shooting photography and videography in our main business. And Logan and I, when we first started, we were living together and we didn't have anything, but we scrapped together an iPhone, an old camera that didn't even shoot. I think it was just like shooting HD 720. Like it was,
Mhm.
we just
Mhm.
used what we got. It was an old Phantom drone that we had, and
Absolutely.
it's easy to look back and be like, oh, you need this camera, this camera, this camera. But man, like with all the phones that we've, or I mean, the cameras that we've had over the years, there's people that use phones that go into these houses and go viral just by using their phone, and everyone
Absolutely.
has one. So, you don't always have to have the most polished equipment. It's all about the value that you bring to the table. And I think that's what's going to really make something effective when you're putting it out into the ether.
Absolutely. And I like to touch on that later in the podcast, on just these roadblocks that people face to create content. And that's definitely one of them, is having the right equipment and
Mm,
overthinking it. Because, Nate and I back in the day, we always had our eye on the newest camera, and it's
mm,
easy to think like, dang, let's buy this $10,000 camera. It's going to do this and that. And in retrospect, we'd look at our cameras and be like, dude, we're not even using it to its fullest capabilities now. So why are we going to buy this $10,000 camera, right?
Mm.
So just being scrappy and using what you got, and using it to the fullest before you think of upgrading.
No, I love that. That's so true. That is so true, because your phone can do so much too. Like literally my first like 3 years of podcasts were done on my phone. I just got cameras like this year. So reflecting on 2024, like I feel like there was a big year for clout, and I kind of came in later into the year when we were really like ramping up the Omni stuff, really trying to launch some social media marketing. And so I kind of wanted to see, like, for you guys, this is like I think you're fourth, fifth year in doing this together. You guys are all really good friends. You guys are all not just business partners. You guys are, doing life together too. So, what was one of the, biggest lessons you guys learned or biggest growth moment through this year with like Clout and Omni?
I think for me personally, it'd be bringing people on our team and growing our team and delegating people to have certain responsibilities. Within your business, it's easy to want to do everything and have this mindset of it's got to be done this way and it's got to look this way. But ultimately, you only have so much time, right? And this year, we're able to scale larger than all the previous years, and that's 100% due to having a solid team and investing in our team.
Yeah,
Love that.
I would totally agree. My wife is the one that sat down on LinkedIn and was able to help us bring on some really key photographers. And I think that, yeah, that has to be the number one thing that was the growth period for us this year, because we wouldn't be here spending time doing the podcast right now, because we would have to be delivering content or doing revisions and stuff. And that was probably the previous year. What really helped us even get to the next level was bringing on Blake to facilitate a lot of that back and forth, because without that, Logan and I couldn't be in the field and shooting and stuff. And that's just kind of how it's been. In the very beginning, it was like, we need to find editors. And then that was one thing that removed us from that piece of the business. And then it was, we need to find somebody that can help manage the clients. And that removed us from that part of the business. And then it was like, we need somebody to help with shooting. So that removed us from that part of the business. And now we're getting into like the marketing aspect, where it's like, Montana, here you are helping us get out of this part of the business. And it's just some very important pieces of the grand puzzle here that is really going to make us, I think, really effective in everything that we're doing next year. Because if we continue at this pace, I really do feel like we're going to just explode. I mean, every year, thankfully, thank God, has always been really good year. We've constantly grown despite having slow markets. We've grown our footprint across different states. That has been very helpful. But I think, I can't add enough that growing with your team is the most important part of your business.
Yeah. And I mean, if you look at year one, it was just literally me and Nate, and we were both, part-time in it. And, year two, we went full in, and, we eventually grew to about, 3-4 people, including us. And then every year we kind of stayed around 4 or 5 people. And then we brought Blake on. And I think at that point we're at 5. And I mean, now there's about 20 people part of our team. And they're all, playing pivotal roles and making sure things get done. And it allows, what's crazy though is, I mean, the business is growing, the finances are building, and Nate and I are doing what seems like less work, but it's giving us more time to work on our business, not working in it. And that's something that's tossed around loosely until you fully grasp it, is don't work in your business, work on your business. And I'm glad to say that we're there going into 2025. And Montana, thank you so much for putting this together. I know you said most podcasts don't go till 16 episodes. If it weren't for you, I don't know if we'd be here at 4. And it goes to show that we value you, and you're very important to the success of what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you guys. I'm sorry, I'm working on taking a compliment. No, I think you guys have been great. And when we tossed around the idea, because of coming up with our content strategy for Clout, I was like, you guys need to be talking more, but you, like you said, you're working on the business, not so much in it. You're not in the field. Like, I can't say, hey, will you make this while you're in the field? So I just think this is good to like get you guys' story, because I think storytelling plays a huge role in content creation. Like, people don't realize, like, the content you probably like, you don't realize they're telling you a story. You're following the biggest creators I like. I'm following their life because it tells a story of who they are. And so I think what really, you know, attracted me to Clout was the story. You guys are all friends. You guys built this in a, you know, from the ground up. And so, you know, what part of storytelling can people play into their content in
Mhm.
2025? I feel like that's a huge aspect
I,
going into this next year.
I think I can touch on that because I think that we're living right now. Some people would have probably said a year ago or 6 months ago that we're living in the best time. Actually, I'd say like around 2 years ago, people would have been saying that we're living in the best time to create content. All you have to do is pull out your phone, and that still holds true today. But I think it's even easier now. I think that people really, like, with the advancements of TikTok, people saw organic content really take shape. And I think that Instagram realized that they need to post a little bit more organic, or have the algorithm pick up a little bit more organic type stuff, because it was all polished before that. And now I feel like we're living in an even more organic time where you can literally just pull out your camera and take clips of everything throughout your day and mash it all together with an audio. It's something I actually just did the other day, and that was just old content. And if you add a little voiceover on that, you could easily create content that's storytelling. Because I mean, everyone has photos and content that is on their phone that they did nothing with. Logan and I talk about this all the time. How many people have like a gold mine in their phone but just don't post it because they're too worried about what people think on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. But I think if you really, really just push through and post some stuff, or just have a plan together to get that stuff posted, you're going to see results. I mean,
Hmm.
I think it's going to be evident for sure as soon as you start posting.
Yeah. Hey Nate, talk about that one company that you had mentioned to me in the past. You're like the CEO is always on there, writing things and engaged with the community and kind of putting content out there. Was that Go High Level, or who was that one CEO? You're like, I really like the way he's like engaging with the audience.
Oh, I think it was, yeah. So he has a Facebook group, and I mean, this company is probably fairly large, and they have this software, and he is constantly in the weeds with his clients, his customers, and literally at odd hours of the night, the people are leaving messages or posts in the group, and he's responding and like tagging support or the developers on his team to take care of stuff or fix things.
Yeah.
And I think it just is like really important, because that makes me want to be somebody like that for the people I work with. And I think everybody should have that. I'm not saying like, you should be responsible for working all hours of the night or anything like that. But I mean,
Mhm.
just having that accessibility is going to be important. And you can divvy up your time to have your work hours and whatnot. But if you have that accessibility where anybody in your company can feel like they can strike a conversation with you, I think that that's going to help you tremendously in the long run, just because
Mhm.
you're personable and people respect you and you can share your dream of the company. And when people are bought into the dream of the company and what you want to do, that's when things just flourish. And if you're able to connect with everybody on your team, I mean, the results will speak for itself. But yeah, that's kind of the thing that I learned and picked up from him, was that this guy has a Facebook group of thousands of members, and he's actually in there talking to people and getting stuff done, and it's remarkable.
Yeah. It's kind of like it's like telling your story and being present to your audience, and then there's just not telling your story but being present, like
Hmm.
either showing face or being there, and knowing that there's that person that um, is contributing to that brand. So it's like you follow the person, not the brand, right?
Yeah.
And it definitely helps. So if you follow a brand and that person within is just like super prevalent, it's like, wow, I support it. It's almost like your friend that works at a certain store. You go to that store all the time because your friend works there, right? Now imagine your friend is the founder or someone like that. So I think
Yeah,
I think
hopefully. Hopefully. They do say that a lot of the people that know you personally usually aren't your biggest fans. It's typically the people who don't know you that are the ones that are buying your product and supporting your business. I don't know why that may be. Maybe you have to be a business owner to really understand that. But, if there's people that I know personally that have businesses, I am 100%, supporting that. I see their peanut butter, the Aldrin Brothers peanut butter at a trade show or farmer's market, I'm buying that type of
yeah.
relationship. And I haven't spoke to him in years, right? But in the background, I'm still going to be supporting. But
Hmm.
it's one of those things that if you do have your face around and you're you have good intentions, chances are you're probably going to have some supporters out there. Actually, too, my wife loves the Alpha League guy. I don't know his name, Christian Guzman or something like that. And she has been following him because San Antonio, same area, and she's been following him since the beginning. And he was like vlogging and stuff, and just showing his journey from years ago. And now he has Alpha Land, this humongous gym that people all over the world go to, and this guy just popped out his camera, recorded his journey. It's happening, it's still happening.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So I think we should talk about some goals, because I think we all start, or not all of us, but I've been there in the past where I start a new year and I'm like, I am gonna do this, and then by the third week of January, most people are like, I'm over it, I'm done. So what is a realistic starting point that someone who feels overwhelmed by content creation could start?
Well, definitely staying consistent on goals is a difficult thing. It takes discipline and I think a constant reminder of why you started in the first place. I think that definitely helps. Um, One thing that Nate and I have really, really focused on ever since meeting each other is the habit of reverse engineering. Thinking about your goals. Like, let's say you want to post 100 value-based pieces of content, or just let's say 100 posts next year. How do you really break that down into what you need to do weekly,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you want to make 100 posts next year, which I think is a solid, very tangible goal that each brand should strive for, maybe that's just posting Monday and Wednesday, right? Monday could just be an update, what went on during the weekend and what you're looking forward to this week. I mean, it could be as simple as that. Just talking about, what's going on in your life. Then maybe Wednesday doing something within your business. Um, an example for real estate could be, hey, this is what's going on. This is the things that happened this weekend. These are the open houses that were going on that we went to. These are the transactions that may have closed. Just kind of showing people that you know what you're talking about, and then maybe Wednesday just go on tour and go film some homes. And I think one thing that really a lot of people are just kind of sleeping on is Instagram stories. There's not a lot of editing needed to create really good content. I think that once you go into like actually posting on your feed, people are a little bit more intimidated by how it has to, what the caption has to be when to post, and what the edit has to be with the music. And it's just like a lot of overanalyzing. And I think if you're just starting out and you're intimidated by actually posting, start with stories. Just start with stories. And I think that could definitely help you build your brand, and just reverse engineer it. Just stick to it. If it's, hey, I'm gonna post before lunch on Monday, every Monday, do it. Just stick to it. Be like, I'm not gonna eat until I do this. And on Wednesday, do that. And then as you go through, a few weeks, a few months, look at what people are engaging with. Look what's working for you. Look what's easy to film. Look what's difficult to film, and just concentrate on like your strengths, and just keep going in on that. I think by the end of the year, you'll be amazed with how much you've progressed.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
Yeah, I think Yeah, it's funny you said reverse engineering, because I was going to say that same exact thing, and that's really what we've done in our business since the beginning. Was like, we have this goal and we want to accomplish it, so how do we do it? And a lot of people just go try and do it. They don't ask themselves what it's going to take in order to do something until they've gotten started, and they just don't know what to do. And I think that a lot of times too is there's like a pride thing that maybe sets in, where it's like, I didn't hit my goal today. Screw it, I'm done. I'm not gonna do this. It's stupid, and all this self doubt starts to creep in. And I think that if you're able to just push through and really just, try and accomplish something, you're going to be amazed at what happens. And I think a lot of that comes from reverse engineering and figuring out those necessary steps that you have to take in order to complete something. And you're going to make some progress, and people don't realize that progress is something that is measurable, and that's what it takes to complete goals, is something that's measurable. And if you have progress, you can continue to work at it over time. And I think that you're just strengthening the will of discipline that you have, and you're just going to continue to improve it over time. And yeah, I can't really add too much more else to that. Is reverse engineering, and I think that that's going to really help you accomplish your goals in 2025 and whatever other year it is.
Yeah.
Love that. I think sometimes, and I feel like we've talked about this before, but you know, I think sometimes what discourages people is like, you expect to like post one time on social media and it go viral and you just like be blown up. And it doesn't work that way. That's not how it works. So what is a way that we can measure success beyond the likes and views, just to, give some more encouragement going into next year? Because I think it's all about consistency. I'm just gonna like spoiler alert, but what are some, ways to measure it besides success? I mean, besides just likes and views, the success of a post.
I think literally you just said it, was the consistency aspect of it. Because, I mean, okay, let's be real. You go viral, and you haven't posted many other times prior, and everyone that you're going to impress with your awesome video is seeing it now, and this is the time of your life. You're getting all the different views and likes and comments and admiration that you've always dreamed of. And then what happens? You don't have a brand to pick up that excitement and to ride off of. And that's what is going to be the cherry on the cake, is like, if you have a look and you have value on your pages, and you have the necessary routes for people to go to, that's what's going to make you a successful person online. And I can kind of build a little bit more on that. And it's something that I'm doing currently in the background of our business, is going in and identifying all the different channels where people can access us through, right? And I'm trying to figure out, like, if we have social media, we have our website, we have all these other forms or whatever it may be, even per social media site, I have like certain channels that we would want these customers to go through, and that's the customer journey. And a lot of the different things happen to really speak to the person who is going through that specific channel. So, for example, let's say that we have one of our lead magnets that's learning how to do the 25 days of Christmas. And if we have that in a certain place and somebody wants that, they're going to go into our system. It's going to understand that this person is interested in marketing type stuff. And we're going to start hitting them with emails and promotions and reaching out to them about marketing specific products. If somebody were to go and download our seller's guide, that person's probably maybe interested in marketing stuff, but their chances are they're doing listing media, right? They go through that channel, they're going to be getting hit with listing products and all of that type of stuff. So you can go viral all you want, but if you don't have the necessary workflows and processes to pick up these people who are interested in what it is you're talking about, then what's the point? And is it just vanity? Like, are you just wanting people to like you? I mean, in our business, we're not going to be in business if we're not making money and providing value to the people who are actually interested in what we have. And I think that a lot of people get that wrong, because you can build a brand, but what's a brand if you're not a business? You're still going to be working your 9 to 5, trying to post on the side, and you have to have that plan in place. So make sure you have that. If you're intending on creating loads of content, that's what we're doing now, and that's what we were planning about a month or two ago, and what we're developing. And all of these pieces need to be in place when you're trying to do something like this.
Yeah, I agree. I think consistency is the main thing to measure. Consistency is the main thing to measure in 2025. Hoping that one of your posts goes viral, or your first post goes viral, highly unlikely. I think that thinking of how people use the platform, when they discover something they like, they might, and you would want them to click on your profile. If they click on your profile, what other content is there to engage them? What drew them in the first place, right? If you're watching a funny video and you go to a page, you're hoping to find more funny videos, right? So if you're thinking about your personal brand, like let's just, for an example, say, hey, this house in Texas is $450,000. It's some mansion, right? I get these all the time. I'm like, what am I doing living in California? But you see that, you're like, oh shoot, right? And then you go to their page and you see all of this information about this particular town in Texas, right? And that's key, right? So if you have 50 videos, 100 videos, and one of them goes viral on your 50th, and then now people have a ton of content to be like, wow, this person knows what they're doing. They are the king of this city in Texas. They know exactly what to do. And that's what personal brands should be doing, is focusing on like something very, very similar. Like, what are you known for? It's kind of like going to a certain channel. You go to History Channel, you're going to see history stuff. You go to Comedy Central, you're going to see comedy. So what is your brand? Like, what is that identity, and how do you feed it and then grow that audience with that type of content?
I love that, because we're such a binge culture now. And when I do that all the time, where I find it's this private investigator. I found her. She finds people that are cheating in Los Angeles. She gets tips. And when I tell you, I watched this woman's content for 45 minutes the other day, I had never seen her before. And then I was like, wait, I just spent like an hour. So I think it's having that catalog, because I'm sure when she first started making these videos, they weren't all going viral. But then, a couple went off. Then you click and you have stuff to binge, and that all overall benefits the
Yeah.
account, the channel. Even so, if something quote unquote bombs or does bad at first, it might not always, because then 10 more posts down the line, something goes viral, and then you're getting your watch time up for all these
Yeah.
older posts too.
Yeah. I think everyone should give it a shot of what they want to talk about, what they want to be known for, because it's not going to get off right away, but maybe it's how you say it, how you structure it, and try and do that. Because like you said, binge culture. I mean, when you go to a page, you are like, okay, I want to see more of this. Like, if you're in a laughing mood, you want to keep laughing, right? Or if you're, whatever mood you're in. So I think you have to be ready for that. And that's going viral is not the thing. It's once someone discovers you, how do you get them to follow you and be like, I like this person, right?
Yeah, you're building the foundation, and it's actually part of the algorithms in our social media sites that we frequently use. Is that when you go, YouTube was really like one that honed in on this originally, was that when you're watching these videos, if you were to stay on that channel, or if you were to continue watching some of their next videos that they have, that's why they have thumbnails that pop up that say like watch next. And a lot of times what people will do in their videos will mention or talk about a topic. They'll have a subtopic in it, and they'll mention it, and they'll say, hey, go watch my other video on this, and then it plugs the video. And if you understand what people are, they're looking at how to hang up a photo on your wall, and then you talk about the best hammers and nails on another video, chances are people who are interested in hanging stuff on the wall may be interested in something like that. And if you're able to create that content that all connects, then the sites, the algorithm picks up like, okay, this person's channel is valuable. They're sticking on the platform first and foremost. Second, the people who see this video likely see this one. That increases the watch time on the platform. And that's how these platforms work. And that's why it's like really important to make sure that all of your content is consistent in the same topic. And that's why a lot of people just have the same thing over and over and over and over again. It's because that's what people expect when they see your content, or the part one, part twos on TikTok and stuff like that. It's all purposeful.
I think that's a whole other episode that we could do. And maybe I'll like write this down for like next week about how do you know who you want to talk to? What do you want to be known for? We can kind of get into that. I know, a lot of the people we talk to are, in real estate or real estate adjacent, maybe some designers, things like that, video, marketing things. So I just, I think it's really finding that voice. So maybe we could do like a whole episode on figuring out what your style is, and we can kind of go over that.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's end on this. I feel like it's a motivational one, because I want to, as we're starting this new year, we've talked about y'all's story throughout these past 4 episodes. I want to really, continue telling the story of Clout, the fact that you guys are all friends, that you guys started this, you've all lived together, It takes a whole different thing to do that. So I'm sure that throughout this business journey, throughout even probably this year, this month, this week, today, this morning, life throws you curveballs. So how can you ultimately like stay motivated when life throws you those curveballs to keep going?
A lot of it's having, great team members. I know that I was actually just reflecting on this yesterday, was that there's a lot of times when I'm on and I'm just knocking stuff out, and no offense or anything, Logan, because I do it too, is that sometimes it's like you take maybe a little bit of a back seat and I do the same thing. And it's just like, if you have that kind of symbiotic relationship with a partner, I mean, that's why all of these huge businesses were built with 2 founders at least, because that's what keeps things going. It's just like, it creates energy. The third conscious is what Logan and I, something we learned back in college when we read Think and Grow Rich literally together. And that actually, if you think about it, is even more ironic, is that we were reading the book together and discovering this whole third conscious and like what that means. And I think that has a lot to do with it. And if you don't have that business partner, being able, or friend, just being able to surround yourself with motivating people who talk about the same type of stuff. There's a lot of people who have great ideas, but are probably just not surrounding themselves with the right people. And, and maybe it's the closest people to you. Doesn't mean you don't have to be friends with them, but maybe you should go seek out other additional people that you can add to your circle who are doing or interested in some of the same things, so that you can continue to feed off of each other. And I think you got to really feed the beast sometimes. And a lot of that creativity will go to waste, and it'll end up creating you to seek out dopamine and scrolling and stuff like that, when in reality, you should be really just harnessing that energy and creating stuff. So I think a lot of it has to do with who you surround yourself with, and just being able to motivate each other.
I love that.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely see that, Nate, and no offense taken. I think that sometimes in a partnership, one's running and the other's walking, and it takes that partner to be like, okay, hey, come on, catch up. And luckily in a healthy partnership, you have that where they can help you. Regarding staying motivated, right? If you're an individual person running your brand, it can get challenging. I don't know if Clout would be here today if it was just me running it, or if it was just Nate. It's definitely a hard thing to do, and that's why most businesses don't stay. Well, I don't know the statistics, like stay past 5 years or 3 years or whatnot. And I think that you have to focus on what you enjoy doing and really try and win, right? Because when you win, it's that gratification that it's working. But in, let's say, real estate, if you only get one sell a month, which is still a really good, healthy business, just looking for that one sell is kind of draining, right? So I think you can measure smaller wins throughout your day. Doing certain things and having like a good, healthy work-life balance, and figuring out what you enjoy doing, so that way you stay motivated and not burned out. Because if you're doing things that you don't like doing, it's easy to just not want to do them, and then you kind of just push it back, and then before you know it, you're like, damn, I haven't even done anything to get me closer to my goals. And then you just feel burned out. You feel like it's too far away. And just focus on what you're good at, and what you can do. And if you do need help, I mean, seek help, right? Seek help as in like hiring a transaction coordinator if you don't want to handle the tedious paperwork. If you're trying to do social media stuff and you have these huge goals but you're starting to fall behind, look outside, right? Look outside for help. And ideally we would like for someone to watch our channel and learn from us and just do it themselves and be like, wow, like, look at these people, they're striving. But we know it's not for everybody. So that's why we have the services we do to be able to plug ourselves into your business and help you get over those roadblocks. And those roadblocks are very challenging, even for ourselves. I think one of the biggest challenges we overcame back in this year in 2024 was, like, literally, we are a content agency. We have made thousands of videos, probably over 1 million photos, and we probably were posting once or twice a month, right? So we have more content than anyone probably watching this. Why weren't we posting?
They do.
Why weren't we posting, right? Is we needed help. And that was the biggest, the biggest hurdle we had to take, was actually bringing someone on, because we thought we already had it all. Just post it, right? And it's not that. It's actually having someone inside to help. And so if you're looking at our business and thinking like, damn, these people have all this content and they need help, don't be embarrassed to look for help, And, some of the roadblocks that people face, and is us and anybody as a personal brand, is thinking, where am I going to film this, right? How's this going to look, right? Do I have the right equipment? I got to edit this. I don't have an editor. I have to post this. I don't have captions. I'm running out of ideas. Like, all of these problems everyone faces, right? But if you could just come up with like a plan to eliminate those problems and make it as easy as possible, now you're focusing on the fun stuff, right? Which is maybe collaborating with a brand manager on what type of ideas you want to film and putting it together. And then you literally send it off to your manager and everything just starts coming together. You wake up and you see a post of you that's nice and well done. It's a really good feeling. And I mean, if you're thinking about maybe bringing on a brand manager, talk to a team, schedule a call with them and see what they're about, see what kind of, solutions they have to your problems, and try it out. Like, for us, what definitely sets us apart, and I'm not trying to just sell this, but I want to share this with you, is like, working on the compatibility of our clients with our brand managers is so important, right? We're not trying to sell like a year contract for someone to come in and be like, hey, it's not for me, right? We really want to help people win. And I would say try it out for a month and see if you like it, and see what kind of problems that our team could take off your plate, and give it a shot.
I love that too, because one of the girls that ladies, people that we first had on for our first month of Revive, she at first was like, just like really like I want it all like wholesome, clean. Then she started having it roll out. She loved it. Now she's like sending me all these sounds. She was like, I want to look like a baddie. And I'm like, okay, let's go. So you never know what you're going to be like, what's going to come from just seeing those first couple posts roll out. You're like, at first it's kind of cringe, like, oh my God, I'm posting. But then now you're like, no, I want to go like all in and be like all about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can't get stuck in thinking like how people are gonna look at you. You just have to put it out there, and um, it's so funny. A friend of mine, when he started posting on his brand, um, I thought his content was funny. I was like, dude, this guy's like talking, he's sticking his tongue out while he's talking, like licking his lips. And I was like, this guy looks like a fool. And sure enough, 1 month goes by, 2 months goes by. He's building his brand, and now we're still good friends, and his brand is just crushing it on social media. And if he would have stopped because people were laughing at him, or if he would have stopped because people are not finding value in the content he's producing, he wouldn't be where he is today. So it goes to show that just starting, right, and look back and think of what you could do better, in the weeks and years to come to build that business. Like for myself, in the last few episodes, I was like, you know what, man, I can't really just look at the camera while I'm talking, because I think and my eyes are kind of rolling around looking crazy. And I was like, screw it, who cares? I'll get better. And I encourage anybody to not be embarrassed, by the way you look or by the way you sound. That's you. People will like you for who you are. It's okay, and put it out there and just keep going. Don't worry about the little things.
Love it. Nate, do you have anything to add before we close out? I saw you like over there cheesing.
No, I mean, I think that, Logan said it best for sure. I think that, going into this whole thing of just creating the brands and stuff like that, it is really just, um, I guess, opened up some different lenses for myself, because I know that we have multiple businesses together, and I know something that I've always wanted to really do. I mean, it's shifted, but I mean, something that I'm most passionate about is business, right? And I love technology. I love starting business. I love motivating people. I love doing all these different things, being creative. And I've been recently looking at my brand or my pages and thinking of how I can be more authentic by posting stuff that just isn't really polished photography. I'm going to continue to explore that, but a lot of it's going to have to do with just talking about what we're doing now. So maybe the video is going to be talking about how we were just doing this podcast or something. Maybe it's something that I personally do. Maybe it's something that you tell me what to do, Montana. But maybe a combination of both. But it's just something that has helped me reflect over these past couple weeks. Was just, how do I want to show up online? But also, most importantly, how do I want to show up for the people who are actually interested in this story? Because I think that a lot of people can come across the content, but I want to be speaking to a specific audience when my stuff's going out there. So I'm just kind of toying with that a little bit. May get a new microphone after this, but
I
the little
recommend.
things. It's the little things.
No, I love that. I love that. And I think this is really great. I think this is a really great episode to start the year on. And I can't wait to continue, telling the story of Clout, telling the story of our clients, learning more, growing more, getting better every podcast. So thank you guys for your time. Is there anything else we want to say?
See you next time. We're shooting for 17 podcasts. Minimum.
Minimum. So if you guys are enjoying this podcast, be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Clout Agents.